Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host, Avran LeFeber, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the new Rossignol Sashimi. That's right, it's the little brother to the XB, but the big brother of the sushi. This board is available in three sizes, 152, 156, and 160. This board features Rossignol's Amptech Elite Camber profile, which is 40% rocker in the nose to right about here, and then it becomes 60% camber back to the tail. That way you can load it up and get pop, and when you do load it up, it activates that rocker in the nose, giving better float in fresh snow. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a day that can only be described as cold as balls. It was like hell had frozen over. In fact, I got a little bit of frost nip during that day. There was some fresh snow, and it was heavily wind deposited, so you could get into pockets that were knee to mid-thigh deep depending where you were on the mountain. But if you were on a groomer, it was usually just like wind blown off or perfect corduroy. Just the way that mountain sits. I used my K2 Thraxis boots and my K2 Indy bindings. This board has a reverse directional flex, meaning that it's stiffer under the front foot and progressively gets softer towards the tail. The rocker does have actually a lot of flex in it, but that doesn't resonate back underfoot. So what you get is a lot of play up here, and then it stiffens up right where you need to drive the board, and that tail is softer so it will sink in. There's a moderate amount of torsional flex, which really helps with the carving in it. And overall, this board is super stable. It does have their light rail technology in the core. So that way, what happens is it dampens any micro vibrations that could affect your ride. You'll especially notice that out in the nose, as nothing, when that thing is flapping, goes back under that front foot. You get no feel, no chatter, nothing. It's just a smooth, stable ride designed for crushing anything in your path. The beautiful thing about this board is how it's got that directional cam rocker in there, so you can really load up that camber zone and pop with it. This board is very effortless when it comes to popping or snapping. Sending side hits, no problem. Going off a roller, no problem. The one thing that I will note is you don't have a lot of tail like you would with a traditional board. So sometimes if you're getting more backseat heavy when you're coming down, it may wash out on you. It does have more tail than the sushi, which is nice, but it's still one of those things you just gotta be cognizant of when you're riding. Can you butter this board? Well, there is a lot of rocker in the nose and that tip shape is good for it, but I found that you had to get your weight aggressively out over it to get it to lock in, and you'd be better off doing it on steeper terrain in fresh snow than on flatter terrain with firmer snow. Can it be done? Yes. Do I recommend it? No. So let's talk about how this board carves, because clearly it is a more directional, free ride, powder centric board. It's fucking amazing. This board rolls from edge to edge with no effort. I mean, if you want effortless carving, this is it for you. You don't have to worry about it. This board will set an edge and forget it. And if you want to drive it off that camber in the back, you can really load it up and get it to spring out of any turn. This is a board that feels smooth on edge in uneven terrain. It just wants to plow through everything in its path and keep on going, which makes it a little more versatile. So who is this board for? It's 100% for the resort riding, powder hunting, free ride guy. Someone that's gonna go out and charge pow and crush a groomer by ripping carbs. That's it, that's all. So I can definitely see where this is the little brother to the XB and the big brother to the sushi. It fits perfectly in that line of free ride boards from Rossignol. The one thing that I didn't necessarily like about it was getting into the really tight trees that we have at Copper Mountain. And I'm not talking like the stuff you see off the chairlift. I'm talking full-blown bushwhacking, where no one should actually be. This board was a bit of a slug in there, and it took a little more work. Now that could have been because it was cold as balls out there, and I was stiffening up, but I think it was more so the board. It just took a little more effort in the trees, and with having all that nose, you had to be cognizant of over-exaggerating your turns. Other than that though, getting into fresh pow, it floats effortlessly. It's one of those boards that you could feel that nose was just planing perfectly and the tail would sink. It was great. Do I recommend it for everyone? No. Do I recommend it for specific people? Yes. This is a great addition to the Rossignol lineup for 2020. Comparable boards. The Ride Mountain Pig the Capita Navigator. Anything from the Explorer series from the United Shapes line seems to be comparable to this as well. This has been my review of the Rossignol Sashimi. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this board. I love talking gear with you guys. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we've got coming out. And trust me, we try to put out a video daily. It's tough, but we do it. And if you'd really like to support us, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and sign up for our subscription service. It's the best way to get stickers to you every month, get behind the scenes content, and support us making the content that you know and love. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.